On Siegel Radio on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender, Krista Lombardi, Scott & Quinn Real Estate. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Glad to have you back with us once again. Let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. There is a lot going on in the world today, so let's get right into it. We're not even going to talk about what we're celebrating, just because there's a lot of scared people out there right now. I had a lot of conversations over the weekend with folks quite disturbed, quite worried about the stock market, where it's going, what it means, what's happening. A lot of panic this morning in the early hours. Started watching the overseas markets about 3 o'clock California time, so it was a bit of an early day. Probably didn't even need the hotel room I get down here by the studio. But where else are you going to watch the markets that early? Think about this one. Well, the markets, the overseas, it was China that started a lot of the problems. All the overseas markets really had a difficult day. I looked at the Shanghai index down 8.49%. Looked at Singapore down 4.31%. The Asia down 4.86%. Then we go over to the FTSE in Europe, down 4.66%. The DAX in Germany down 4.71%. Why do I go through all these numbers to share with you what's going on? It's because the Dow right now is down 1.81. The S&P is down 1.87. That's the important issues. When you go and look at numbers, they can be scary. You look at the Dow down 298 points. It was down 1,100 points earlier in the day today. That could be a scary number, especially the ones that I hear from the most are our seniors calling me and wanting to know, Ron, what's going on? What should I be doing here? Is there something that's to worry about? And here's the answer to that question. Should you be concerned? Yes. Should you be cognizant? Yes. Should you be scared? Absolutely not. And the reason is that the U.S. market is still, in spite of everything going on, the best market in the world. We are the safest market in the world. We had some concerns about this. I shared those with those who subscribe to my newsletter. Yeah, you can get on that subscription if you want to. Just go to ronsiegelradio.com. I shared with subscribers why this was such a major event, what was going on. The reason is very, very simple. You have to just understand world economics. China was making a play to become the global currency. They wanted to take over for the U.S. That could pose a very, very significant problem for the U.S. if China does take over as the world's currency. They were buying up U.S. treasuries. They were buying up U.S. debt. They were buying up a lot of gold from the world markets. Now, when they do all of those things, yes, it does make it as a thought, well, maybe they want to become the world currency, and yes, they do. But here's the issue. About a week or 2 weeks ago, China decided that they were going to devalue their currency. It's a manipulation play. We've looked at it. U.S. does our manipulation of our currency a little bit differently. We just buy the treasuries. We let our Federal Reserve go out and buy U.S. treasuries. That's kind of like taking the money in your left front pocket and buying the paper that's in your right front pocket, just moving the money from one pocket to the other. We did it. We get mad when others do it, but it really made the world a little bit more comfortable, I guess is the best way of putting that. Because they look and they say, okay, well, the U.S. is still stable, even though we've now gone from, in the last 6 or 7 years, $8 trillion in debt to $18 trillion in debt. Nobody talks about the idea that we've also, at the same period of time, we've tripled the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve. What does that mean? Well, it means they've gone out and taken that money and put it from one pocket to the other. So in essence, there's another $4 or $5 trillion in debt that nobody wants to really even talk about, nobody wants to mention. I digress. I'll go back. So when China devalued their currency, the world looks and says, you know something? China could be just like Greece or Mexico or Venezuela or Russia, and that currency probably isn't as stable, no matter what they want to say, as the U.S. currency. Well, now the world looks back to the U.S. and says, okay, what is the U.S. doing? And the currency's somewhat stable. And they look and say, okay, why are the U.S. stocks trading where they are? They shouldn't be at over 18,000 for the Dow. And, what was it, 2,000 some for the S&P. No logic there. There's no growth in the U.S. The reason the stock market was going up was because the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury were putting money on Wall Street to make it look good. They were letting them borrow money at no cost to make it look good. So where are we today with all of this going on? The Dow is correcting itself now. Again, I share with you, in 1987, Black Monday, the Dow dropped 508 points. And you say, well, Ron, we were down 360 on Friday and we're down 224 today. Why isn't that the same? Well, it's based on what? The Dow was down 22.6% on that Black Monday, which would equate to about a 1,400-point drop on our Dow today. We've made some changes. We've learned from the past. We put in what they call circuit breakers. We used to look at the Dow for those circuit breakers. Wisely, we stopped doing that in 2013. Instead of looking at an arbitrary 30 stocks, we now look at the S&P 500, a wider variety. When the market is down, when the S&P is down 7%, which it's only down right now 1.42%, a circuit breaker kicks in and the stock market halts trading for 15 minutes to let people cool down, get rid of the program trading that's in place, and make people start thinking. When the Dow or the S&P goes down to 13%, it's going to shut down again for another 15-minute break. And if, and only if, we get to a 20% drop on the S&P, the market closes for the day. So we're not going to ever see that same 22% down in a specific day just because the circuit breakers will not allow that to happen. Again, we go back and look at, as I've shared with you many, many times, what you really want to know, especially for those of you who are seniors or have senior loved ones in your sphere. Think about this. Never, ever have money in the stock market that you need in the next year to 2 years. Never. Get that money into liquid holdings, cash, money markets, something that is very, very safe and secure. If you have that in safe and secure holdings and the market drops 200 points, or actually it's down almost 2,000 points over the last week and a half, you don't have to worry because you're holding cash. You're not forced to sell. You're not dealing with that margin call that many people might be looking at the face of. And I don't want to even go into what a margin call is or any of those other issues, but these are the things that are going on. We're looking right now at oil, $38.69 a barrel. I looked this morning, the national average, $2.60 a gallon is our national average for fuel. I think that might be off a little bit. It might have been We'll call it $2.60 a gallon. National average for fuel. California, state of confusion, $3.74 a gallon. Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot. $2.60, $2.59.5 is the current national average for fuel prices. The state of confusion, $3.47, transposing that one. Think about that. And we want to raise our taxes a little bit more in California. They just voted for another 12-cent a gallon increase. If you haven't heard about it, call your state legislator. Talk to those brain surgeons over there and see if you can get them to explain to you why they want to raise taxes as the world economy is slowing. It's almost like the Fed raising rates, which they will not do in September. They've talked about it. You've heard it here first. They're not going to do it. We're going to talk more about that. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. We're going to talk to Krista Lombardi, the local real estate guru. We'll chat about that when we come back. What you do not need to hear from your listing agent, what your car says about your credit score. Think about that one, what your car says about your credit score. We'll talk about that. You can reach me anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
UDirect IRA Services has helped thousands of Americans invest their IRA outside of the stock market into real estate, land, private notes, and more to improve their financial future. UDirect IRA is a third-party administrator providing complete and accurate information on self-directed IRAs so you can make the most of your retirement funds. Educating individual investors and professionals is the cornerstone of UDirect IRA. We have events right here in Southern California geared towards self-directed investing. We also offer webinars, so no matter where you are, you can learn to earn.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990. The real-time real estate segment today brought to you by the VIP Hero program. We've talked about the Hero program before. You know what it is. It's a benefit program for military, law enforcement, firefighters, healthcare professionals, first responders, teachers, $5,000 to $10,000 in rebates from the real estate professionals, lenders, attorneys, credit repair, and even some special rates published by our title partners. Think about that. If you qualify, I don't know if you qualify, go to VIPhero.com, see if you do, and take advantage of those bonuses for you. What you do not need to hear from your listing real estate agent. That is the subject today of the real-time real estate segment. So when you've decided to sell your house, you go and you start interviewing potential real estate agents to help you through the process. You need someone you trust enough to set the market value. Again, this is probably your largest asset your family has. Set the time schedule for liquidating the asset. Set the fee for services required to list that asset. I suggest in most areas where you're listening to me right now, if you give us a call at 800-306-1990, it can save you a lot of time and effort finding you a great real estate partner, professional to help you. I have a license. I do not do it. I don't get paid by anyone that does sell real estate. Just one of those things that we do here at Ron Siegel Radio. What you don't want to hear from your real estate agent, who gives a hoot about their bragging about their successes? Who gives a hoot about them bragging about their company's success? It's not about them. It's not about their company. It's about you. It's about your family. It's about them being honest enough to tell you great advice, whether you want to hear it or not. That's the bottom line right there. If you're looking for somebody who's just going to brag about what they've done, give them a good swift kick in the whatever, and go to somebody who's going to share with you, who's going to educate you, who's going to guide you. And I'm going to say right here, right now, guidance when it comes to anything along these lines, especially something this big, this important, your house, your mortgage, you're not looking for a friend. They could become a friend. They could be the nicest person in the world. You want somebody who's going to educate you and who's going to tell you straight out like it is, whether you want to hear it or not. And you need that service from, you don't want it to be arrogance, but you want it to be confidence. You want somebody that's experienced, not somebody that nothing against the person that just got their license. Everybody has just got their license at some point in time. They should be part of a team. That's my opinion. They should work together with a mentor who can guide them so that they can guide you. Just the way it is. That's the real-time real estate segment. Again, if you need some assistance in finding a great real estate professional in the sound of my voice, just give me a call at 800-306-1990. I will assist. It will cost you absolutely nothing. Speaking of great real estate professionals, I've been honored many times to have Krista Lombardi come in and join us, sharing her experiences. What do you think, Krista? Where did I go wrong on that?
On what you just said, that's perfect. I mean, it's absolutely correct.
Well, something, I'm glad you said that, because, obviously you and I share a lot of the same values, helping people, and it's not about us.
No.
Right? I talk to thousands of people every single day. We're blessed to be speaking on the radio right now. 13 million people under the coverage map. I always say there's probably 13 listening. My mom's not this morning, so it might be 12. Right? But the whole issue is giving people honest guidance. It's a big issue, the house.
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot going on. You've got your whole family. You have to know whether or not you're moving. A lot of times you're moving for a reason, right?
Right.
So, and that's an impact on your life. So it's all about the customer, 100%.
Yeah, it's an important thing. And experience really guides a lot of what you do, right? I bought my house 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I do see a lot of real estate transactions every day. But if you're like me and you bought your house 20 years ago and you don't see a lot of transactions every day, how could you possibly know all of the hurdles and hiccups and things that go on?
That's so funny that you say that, because I just took a listing and I go in the house. The foundation's obviously just in pieces. There's cracks all through the house. And I talked to the seller and I said, do you realize that there's probably some foundation problems going on? I mean, I'm not a contractor, but I can see. And he said, oh, yeah, I bought it 28 years ago and it had a cracked slab. And I
And you did nothing over the last 28 years?
No, nothing. But I was thinking, I don't know. I mean, maybe 28 years ago you could get financing with a cracked slab, but nowadays there's no way.
Right. We're going to look at health and safety issues from day one.
Right.
And actually, we probably 2005, 2006, as long as you could fog a mirror, you could get financing. But that's not the way it is today.
Right. No. Yeah.
So let me ask you this question, because I've heard this more and more coming on in the marketplace. Strategy from the listing side. Mm-hmm. Is there a benefit to one day or another listing a piece of property?
Oh, my goodness. So...
the way you answered that already, I think there must be.
I mean, it comes up on almost every listing. Sometimes I get, and this just recently happened, I got the sellers, they were finishing their repairs on a Friday night. Okay. It's a vacant property. I was going to stage it. I always stage vacant properties. I do it on my own dime because that way we make money. Trust me. It's a completely different animal. And they wanted to have the property up the next morning and an open house Sunday. Figure you can't even get a photographer or a stager out that fast. So it's just all about the right approach, the right marketing. We've got to list it. We've got to list it at a time period where it's not around the holidays. You've got to think it all out. So.
And, well, I might differ with you just a tad.
Let's hear.
I think that for the most part, most people, if they're smart, they'll just leave it to you to think it out. Right? Because, I mean, as a consumer,
sure.
If I say I want to list it on Friday, why can't we have an open house on Sunday? I might not know all those things that really go into it, because the average consumer, I hear them frequently, and I must admit, even some folks in my own family, they make this comment, and I chuckle. They say, look at all the money real estate people make. And they have no concept of some of the things that you just said in a heartbeat that probably went right over somebody's head. Right? I mean, you got to get it staged.
Right.
Vacant property needs to be staged. Does that happen for free?
No.
What does it even mean to stage it?
So staging, if you take a vacant property, like literally this property, I went into it while they were cleaning it and I said, oh my gosh. Now you look at the pictures, the photographer went out, the stager went out, put all the furniture in, matched, the painting with the wall. I mean, it looks wonderful.
So it's a big difference. One is a hollow, cold structure.
Right.
Once you've staged it properly, now it looks like, now I can start, for people that are like me, and I have very, very little vision. Not that I'm bald, but I'm blind. I am bald. Not that I'm blind, right? But if you tell me that you can put a couch here and a table there, I can't see that. I can't visualize it.
No, it means nothing. I mean, I'm always surprised when I see it go from vacant to staged. And if you look at the model homes, the ones that sell for top dollar from a builder,
right,
they're always staged.
So doing that, you just can't do that in you can't snap your fingers. The stager has to come out. They have to look at the property, evaluate the property. They might even need to think.
Right.
Right. Then they need to find the right pieces to make that puzzle work, get it delivered, set up. Now you have to call a photographer, and he wasn't just sitting there waiting for you.
Well, and on a weekend, it's almost impossible.
Right.
I can guarantee you. I think I got 4 referrals for photographers that will even work on weekends, which is amazing.
Sure.
And of those 4, I finally got 1 to go out on a Sunday. So.
And a lot of times we just had John Gregoritz on the program on Friday. If you didn't catch that, it's in the archives. He's he does all kinds of photography. He takes the drones and goes out and gets the ocean shots and all that kind of stuff. But the beauty of all those things is we were looking at some pictures that were online, and there was cars in the middle of the pictures. Well, they weren't trying to sell cars when they're trying to sell the house. And he and the agent that were on both made a comment that you shouldn't have cars in the middle of pictures. If you do the pictures on the weekends, there's a lot higher likelihood of cars being in front of the house.
Yeah.
Right? Or on the street that you can't move them.
Yeah.
So I can understand somewhat why the photographers would rather do it during the week. It just makes a little more logic for them to get the better shot. And you want You want the shots to go on. We can even talk, actually we're going to probably run out of time in this segment, but when we come back, let's talk a little bit about the idea of having the pictures done right the first time and what that means as it flows through the internet and marketing.
Right.
Because there's some importance there too, right?
Absolutely. You want to put your best foot forward. So
yeah, we're going to chat about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Speaking about cars, what your car says about your credit score. Who knew? House committee schedule hearings marking the anniversary of Dodd-Frank. There's only one hearing that they should do for that one, but I'll get into that when we come back. More with Krista Lombardi. We've got a lot to cover. Still today, you can reach us anytime. The off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
Southern California attorneys have over 15,000 real estate agents to call in Orange County for their personal and professional needs. Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today is brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. Great organization. If you have a credit card processing service for the credit cards you accept at your business, Commerce for a Cause, they match the credit card processing fee and then give a 20% rebate to the nonprofit organization of your choice. How do you go wrong there? Think about that one. Commerce for a Cause. Again, I have no affiliation with the company. I just believe in the service. If you want to meet them, give me a holler, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So the House Committee is scheduling hearings marking the anniversary of Dodd-Frank. Unbelievable. Probably one of the worst pieces of legislation in our lifetime. Dodd-Frank, they had a bunch of goofballs named Chris Dodd and Barney Frank and their respective committees get together thinking that they had a clue about finance. Yeah, Chris Dodd, he's the one that got the Friends of Mozilla loan on his own personal residence, and then he's going to go out and write legislation to regulate America. Unbelievable. Now, what's happened with Dodd-Frank? Has it helped? Well, I guess if you're a big Wall Street bank, you'd say yes, because it's pushed all of the community banks out of the business of lending money. I heard this morning. It was very, very interesting while I was looking at what's going on in the global markets. One of the commentators came on and said, instead of banks and lending institutions hiring people to lend money to the community, loan officers, whether commercial lending or small business lending, residential lending, because of Dodd-Frank, they're hiring compliance officers. And it really resonates when you think about it. If they're not going to hire anybody to lend the money, they're spending all the money on compliance. Where is the engine of growth in our economy? It's always been small business. And if small business can't get money because of legislation like the Dodd-Frank Act, which has not even completely been implemented yet, the best thing to do with the Dodd-Frank Act would be to blow the whole thing up and see if you can really get rid of the whole thing, start over. What you want to do here, it's all about unintended consequences. And that's what Dodd-Frank is they took all these consequences that they wanted for the banks that were too big to fail, and they went and threw it into the marketplace. Well, the banks that are too big to fail, they have billions of dollars. They just pay the fines and the penalties. The small local banks, they can't afford to compete, so they get out of... Heck, we've talked to some of the community banks. They won't even do a mortgage for their best clients. Won't even do one for their best clients. Think about that. Why? Because there's way too much regulation, way too much compliance. They can't assume that level of risk to help their best clients. Does that make any sense? Is that what it was meant to do? Well, how about setting up bigger reserves for the big banks and leave the little banks alone, because they're blips. They're not going to hurt the economy. If a little bank takes on too much risk, just like should be the case with the big banks, they take on too much risk, there should be consequences for the risk. It's called going out of business. It's called capitalism. It's not called being bailed out by the government, by the taxpayer, by you, by me. That's the Word on Wealth segment, again brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. Featured home this morning, looking at this one. It does have the commentary that I always love to kid about. I don't know if you've heard this one, Krista. I'm going to give you the Ron Siegel commentary here. 16 Lake Helix Drive. Again, I'm going to share with you, if you are driving, do not text 16-91941 to 79564. Don't do that. It's illegal. You could get in an accident. But when you stop and you text 16-91941 to 79564, you're going to get information on a 5-bedroom, 3 full bath, and a half bath home. And I always love this because 3 full baths, and if you have to do half your business, they've got a bathroom for you to do that too. Just a thought there, but that's all. That's real estate lingo. Half a bath, half your business. $300,000 in upgrades. Luxurious home on Lake Helix. Gated property. Everything you want, including privacy and security. I like that idea. Private community, lake, tennis courts, convenience. 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, open floor plan. Huge master bedroom. I can go and hibernate. beauty of it, $999,000, brought to you by Krista Lombardi. What a small world that you're here and we're talking about.
Small world.
So you've probably even seen the property.
Oh, I've definitely seen the property.
Nice one?
Beautiful one, absolutely.
Okay, so and you said there might even be a little bit of a breaking news. I should have a button for breaking news.
No, geez, it looks like we're doing a price reduction this week. So if anyone out there is interested, I can let you in on the latest scoop.
The latest scoops. Well, even at the $999,000 price with a 3.693 APR, looking at about $3,400 a month in payments. Think about that one. Well, you got to qualify for it, and I'm going to go through all that garbage stuff, but you got to qualify, and you got to have good credit, and you got to, have a job and be able to pay for it, all that kind of stuff. But if you want more information, again, give me a call. I'll put you in touch with Krista, or if you just text that number that I gave you, 16-91941 to 79564, you get a website, you get Krista's information right there, all the information on the property. And if you're thinking about selling your home, only for about a week more, I've got the summer home buyer, actually for buying a home, the Summer Home Buyer's Guide. Think about this, HBG, Home Buyer's Guide. I'm a simple guy. To 79564, we'll send that right out to you. Text HBG to 79564. That is today's featured property. Again, it's one from Krista Lombardi, so give her a call if you want more information about it. Continuing our conversations, we were talking before the break about the idea of listing your home. What is there a specific day of the week you want the property to go on the MLS?
I want it on before Thursday if possible.
Okay, why is that? Why is this? What's the strategy there? No trade secrets, but
the secret sauce. So, honestly, you need a couple of days for people to be able to see the property. Okay, you want them to be able to see it online. You want to build up the buzz in the neighborhood, the community, online, and everything for the open house that you're going to do that weekend. So before Thursday, so it filters through. Now, we're talking about pictures before the break and the importance of not the iPhone picture standing in the corner. So if I took the pictures of the houses, no house would ever sell. Okay, so we'll start with that. Right, but something that's the beauty of what you do is you understand what your portion of the role is, right, of the team, right, in getting that house sold. And you're the best use of your time and your expertise is not being the photographer. No, absolutely not. And sometimes you get the comment that the pictures look better than the house does when you actually walk in. Well, we got to sell it somehow. Right. I'm not a photographer. The photographer is going to do his job, and I'm going to do my job. And we want the people to come see the property because somebody might say that we've all looked at pictures that have been done of models and of homes and of product, and you've seen products that are better than what they look like in the pictures. You've seen products that aren't as good as the pictures, but that's why you got to go do some homework and see it. Right. Now, recently we just had some sellers who wanted the old pictures of their house put up because the photographer couldn't make it that weekend, and we said, people are going to look at the pictures and then come and see the house and say this isn't the same house. Right. And I'm not even sure, you look at some of those when people want to do that, you got to wonder about the legality of it, using somebody else's work. I mean, it's right, public and whatnot. Right. But the idea is, what about first impressions? And what I really want to get with that is, so many people, I think at the latest numbers I saw, 80 or 90% of the people start their home search online. And if you put garbage pictures up initially and then replace them with professional pictures, what are your thoughts? You only have one shot at a first impression. I mean, the majority, there are so many houses to look at that, some people may qualify for more or less. So if you put the garbage pictures up, then you literally lost your one shot. Right. So you got to get the professional pictures done really, really quick. Efficient. John Gregoritz told us last week it takes him about 8 hours just to edit the pictures after he's finished at the property. That's just telling you what the professionals are really doing to make this right. And once you put those pictures in the MLS, then they're going to, what do they call it, curate to all the different websites from that initial picture you put in. So you're not really going to Zillow and Trulia and
Oogle and Google and all these other places. It's going right from the MLS.
Right. We can't control what the other, Zillow and Trulia and what was it? Oogle and Google?
Oogle and Google. And
those are great sites. Yeah, we don't control those. So we put them in. We never, ever put a house up and wait even 1 hour to put the pictures up because somebody has probably already clicked on it. And I've done it before myself where I've said, okay, maybe we'll put this house in on the list of places to go look at. And then we do. And we're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly the reason why there's no pictures.
Right. So as an agent, as on the buying side, you don't want to be surprised. You don't want to. Again, I say this all the time. Surprises are for birthdays and anniversaries, not for business.
Right.
Right? When you're buying a house, that's big business.
Yeah.
So you don't really want to be dealing with...
It's a chunk of change.
Yeah. And it's somebody's life savings, life's fortune.
Right.
So, you don't want to be... You don't want the surprises there. You want them professional pictures up, done the right way. Some great information. We're going to continue our conversation with Krista Lombardi when we come back. What your car says about your credit score. Boy, time flies. Amazing how it just continues to go when we are in studio having some great conversations, sharing some great information for you. You can reach me anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com or call today Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation and MLS 217037 and BCAL-BRE number 018694552.
Do you have a loved one who wants to stay in their home but you have health concerns about it? The Preferred Care team understands the challenges of caring for your loved ones. Their goal is to keep seniors as independent as possible while maintaining their health, safety, and overall well-being. Whether you need just a few hours a week or 24-hour care, Preferred Care caregivers are trained to meet your needs. Call Preferred Care at 714-696-9150. That's 714-696-9150. Or visit preferredcare.com.
Attention homeowner 62 and older. Do you worry if you can afford to keep your home? Are you concerned about paying all your monthly expenses? Or do you simply wish you could live a better retirement? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may qualify for a program that can help. It's called FHA Reverse Mortgage. It's insured by the federal government. You'll receive tax-free money. You aren't required to make any monthly mortgage payments, and you still own your home. Siegel Lending Team is a local leader in FHA reverse mortgages. Call free to get your free reverse mortgage guide, free custom quote. And when you call now, you can get all your questions answered by local experts. There is no monthly mortgage payment and tax-free money you can use for healthcare expenses, home improvements, or just live a better retirement with peace of mind. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-1990 to get your free reverse mortgage guide and quote. You'll also find them on the web at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Call 800-306-1990 now. Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037 and DRE number 018694552.
The UPS Store. Get a better mailbox at your locally owned The UPS Store, your one-stop shop for all your small business needs. Visit theupsstore.com to find a location in your neighborhood.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. What your car says about your credit score. That's the subject of the Your Credit Matters segment today, brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. As you know, you've got a credit report. You already know, if you listen to Ron Siegel Radio, that your credit report is wrong. The only question is, what are you doing about it? A lot of people do nothing, and they just pay the price. What your car says about your credit score. Found this very, very fascinating, that you might have good credit if you drive these cars. A Subaru Forester is the number one. 5 cars that attract buyers with the highest credit scores. Number 1, Subaru Forester. Never seen that one. Number 2, Subaru Outback. Number 3, Acura MDX. Number 4, Acura RDX. And number 5, the Lexus RX 350. Now, on the flip side, you may have bad credit if you drive these cars. Don't get in an accident when I tell you. Number 1 is the Dodge Avenger. Number 2, Kia Forte. Number 3, Chrysler 200. Sorry, Joe. Number 4, Nissan Versa. And number 5, the Kia Rio. I don't know if maybe they just have a lot more expenses on the cars when you own those kind of cars. But that's what the statistics say. I don't make these things up. I just report them. Found it fascinating. I hope you did as well. That's the Your Credit Matters segment, again brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. I'm going to take a quick look at the markets, see what they're doing before we get back into our conversation with Krista Lombardi. We're recovering a little bit. Down 202 right now. We were down as much as 1,100. The S&P 500 down 28, so a little bit better there. Oil prices, they're recovering a little bit as well. $39.07 a barrel. Here in the state of confusion, we'll probably figure out how we can charge more money. The U.S. 10-year Treasury at 2.03. That's come back from 1.90 earlier in the day. A lot going on. Don't panic. Whatever you do, we are here to give you great information so you can know how it affects you, how it affects your dollars. No panic here on Ron Siegel Radio. We're just going to talk a little more real estate because you don't have to worry from day to day when you're dealing in real estate. It's not a trading vehicle. At least it's not intended to be. I guess in 2004, 2005, I must admit it, that I did buy property and sell it within 90 days, but it's really not the idea of what we're looking to do. So we're going to continue with our conversation on real estate. Krista Lombardi is in the house. Scott and Quinn Real Estate in the heart of San Diego.
Yes.
Gotta love,
I love it.
Love San Diego. I sometimes I even look at the weather when I'm down here, but most of the time, I mean, it's just nice.
Well, you want to move here?
I bet you know a good agent that can help me.
I do. I think 16 Lake Helix Drive's looking pretty good.
And I think there's going to be a price reduction.
I think so.
I don't know.
Exclusive offer.
There we go. Got it made. So let's chat about some of the fun stuff that goes on with real estate. Ooh. HOAs. Tell me a little bit. What do you got going on with HOAs here?
Boy, there's a huge difference in HOAs this year, and I urge people that are on the HOA boards, try and get your board to get an FHA recertification, because this year the HOAs just haven't been doing it. And so lots have been dropping right off the FHA certifications.
That's going to be an interesting comment, because starting on July 1, 2016, on every budget, you're going to have on there whether the property is FHA approved and or VA approved, and what the changes might have been. So July 1, 2016, they're going to have to report to everybody, so it's going to make it nice and easy to know whether the boards have done it or haven't done it.
Nice.
And obviously, that's something that the California Association of Realtors got through the legislature, and I think it's going to be helpful.
I can see that buyers that are looking for FHA They're getting cut out of lots of different condo complexes because they don't have their certification. So who does have the certification will get more offers, and more offers is more money.
Yeah, it's higher demand because there's more buyers in the marketplace, which means more demand. Demand means, and there's only that property's only there once, right? I mean, you can't clone the property, you can't send it to China and make a duplicate of it.
Darn.
Right? So there is only one, so the supply is limited. If demand goes up, price goes up.
Yeah.
It's just economics 101.
Right.
How many times do I have to show my property to get it sold? Is there a fixed number there?
There's no fixed number, but if somebody wants to look at it, please, let's try and get them in the door.
We'll just leave the key under the mat?
Well, no, if you leave the key under the mat, I know some buyers of mine that might just go and open it right up.
So that's kind of an interesting one. The buyers will actually go back on their own and open the door.
So, yeah, we just had a situation where the seller, who was the listing agent, left the key under the mat, moved out of the property. We couldn't close escrow on the day we were supposed to. Of course, the buyer's got a fridge and I don't know what else they're having delivered, finds the key under the mat, goes in the house, which, okay, even if you leave your front door wide open and somebody walks in, it's considered trespassing. So
So the listing agent, who was the owner, got a nice gift. They brought the refrigerator there for him just to say thank you.
Right?
Now he's getting ready to move, and he's going to take his refrigerator that somebody left for him.
Well, the listing agent had already moved. It was vacant, but, I just don't expect... Put a lockbox. It's nice. It's safe. It's secure. It logs every person that goes in and out of that house.
Right.
It's a wonderful $100 investment. It's pretty cheap.
For a listing agent, you would think that he would have known that.
I hope so.
And it's amazing because you just made a comment there that sometimes we fly by. Again, you make these comments that in passing, just so casually, that they're great information for us to follow up on. The fact that the lockboxes nowadays log who went in and when.
Everything. Mm-hmm. What time? What time you closed it, so they know how long you were in the house.
Which is used in multiple ways, right? Because as the listing agent, if you put the right kind of lockbox on, then you can do follow-ups.
Right.
And the associations are then tracking to see what foot traffic is, which kind of gives us an indication of, is there a lot of demand for real estate? Is there not a lot of demand for real estate? It can help you as a listing agent go to your people there on Helix and say, hey, you know something? We're not getting the traffic. Maybe we need, if we want to sell by your time frame, whatever their time frame is, we need to adjust the pricing.
Right. I mean, mine, I even pay for a service, so it sends out a little survey to the agent that showed the property and asks a few questions, real easy, quick questions. Do you like the property? Will you be showing it again? Are you considering making an offer? And it goes to the seller so they can see.
Interesting. So it goes right back to the seller. So the seller's also seeing what you're seeing as a professional. And it makes it, it makes it easier. I mean, if you hire the right professional, you don't need to validate exactly what they're saying, but it's always in the back of your mind, right? I mean, did my agent really show the property? Did somebody really see it? Did they really say that it's overpriced?
Right.
But now this is really, if it's coming direct, there's no questions.
Right.
And
so
when
you're seeing what the consumer's saying, basically.
And we know statistics, right? I mean, we just watch those all the time. That's my job, right? Is if your property is being seen and you're not getting, if it's being seen a lot and you're not getting any offers, what the statistics say is you're priced probably about 5% too high. If you're not getting any visibility, if no one's looking at your property and no offers, which if they're not looking at your property, you're probably not going to get any offers, that means you're probably somewhere between 5 and 10% too high. Those are just national statistics. So you can apply those statistics to the information that's coming out of that lockbox.
Right.
Right? And obviously then you also deal with the security of your property because you know who went in, all those other good things. And not having the key under the doormat is probably a better idea.
That would be a great idea. Just put the lockbox on. We once had Vicodin stolen from a house, and we could figure out which agent and who her buyers were from the lockbox. So
wow. Yeah, that's really getting into scary stuff.
Right.
Income properties, are they selling now? We were buying a lot of income properties for the last few years. Are they starting to sell, and what are the issues there?
They're looking good. They are. The main thing is that you really, I cannot stress enough, I'm not a CPA. I need you to speak with your CPA and make sure that you have a good one. Okay? We recently just sold a place, and the CPA said, sure, you're not going to have any tax liability. Sure enough, she's looking at $25,000 in taxes for selling the property.
Wow.
And
it's a lot of money. Maybe it's not to the CPA, but to me it is.
Well, right. Probably to the CPA it isn't. But either way, when you're expecting zero and you get hit with $25,000, it's a completely different ballgame. So...
yeah, we want to, and if you don't know great CPAs, give us a call, 800-306-1990. Anywhere in the sound of my voice, again, I can put you in touch with a great CPA. I'm sure Krista and her team have some great people, because that's what we do. I mean, when you really look at it in the real estate world, whether it's on the lending side, radio side, listings, and helping buyers, we want to be that one-call solution, right? Mm-hmm. I look at it as, I'm big. I was a lineman in my world, but a quarterback, right? You want to be giving everybody guidance in all directions, and that's right. Because you're out there seeing people all the time,
right?
So I would assume you want them to call you if they need a great CPA. If you don't have one,
just let me know.
Right? Just call you. You've got the people that can help. Great information. Our time runs out way too quickly every time, so we're going to have Krista come back and share some more great information with us, and we want you to set your first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Tomorrow we're going to find out how horses affect law enforcement. How in the heck does that work? We'll talk about it. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today, and of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Our house in the middle of our street, our house.
XAPA News 700 AM Tekatek Bacalican.
You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700. Hi.